Your host Cam Robinson, and I'm taking over from Chris Waters. He's gone all the way over to the other stage, the lesser stage as I like to think of it, mainly because I'm here, and I have a beautiful orange sofa, but that's not what you're here to see. You're here to see a brand new game just announced today by Nintendo. I'm joined by Corey. How you doing, Corey?
Good. How are you,
Great to have you on the stage. I'm doing really well. Great to have you on stage.
Thank you.
So I remember the first time I heard about the game Xenoblade Chronicles, and I was told, I remember my colleague Mark said, oh yeah, it's a JRPG, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty exciting. And he's like, yeah, it takes place in this world, which is on the back of these two giant colossuses who have been caught in combat for an age, and then they died, and that's where everyone lives. And I was like, what? Like, that's an incredible premise. So to people who haven't heard of Xenoblade before, tell us a bit about it.
So the first thing I want to say, yes, the Xenoblade on Wii was amazing, amazing story. With Xenoblade Chronicles X, this is an all-new story taking place. So you're going to be creating your own character at the start of the game. However, the premise of the game is actually in that you basically, as an Earthling, you have these two warring alien species that are just doing battle right above Earth. We're not really involved as Earthlings, but what ends up happening is we're in the crossfire, Earth blows up.
Oh, wow. That's not good, right?
There's some Earthlings that make it out. They just get out in the nick of time via their spaceships. They end up, during the escape, they crash land on a planet called Planet Mira.
So it's a completely new story. Is the only similarity in name really to Xenoblade?
It really is, that name. You're going to see a lot of similarities in gameplay. So right now we're seeing, for fans of Xenoblade on Wii, you're seeing that arts palette on the bottom.
Yep.
Now the bread and butter of that combat system, it is an RPG, JRPG. You're seeing this auto attack. Yep. Although you've got your arts down there on the left and right too. We've only got two on the left and right now.
Well, tell us a bit more about those arts. So how do they work exactly?
So the arts might be a special, the left art right there is a special melee attack, like an assault hammer. Okay. The art on the right is a shield, so you can kind of shield yourself up. As you're playing and as you're leveling up, you're going to be able to get different arts, like more ranged arts or more powerful arts.
Okay.
The game also lets you, when you're choosing so a lot of the strategy from battling comes from choosing which art at which time. Because when you use one, it's not just, I'm just going to spam the assault hammer. Every time you use an art, it has to cool down.
Okay, right.
And so during that cool down period, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's my next art going to be, or am I going to just use my auto attack? As you're attacking, you also have the ability to, you're going to see here in the next battle, you're going to have the ability to change from melee to ranged on the fly. But before we get into our next battle, I at least want to set up this scene that we're about to see.
Yeah, where are we? This looks beautiful. What's going on?
We woke up, the beginning of this game, we're actually playing like the first 20 to 30 minutes of the game right now, just at the beginning. Our character just woke up from slumber, and Irma, this female character here, found our character that we customized. We named him Cameron.
Oh my God, I'm so honored.
But, well, hopefully he does a good job here. Maybe strong for us. So she's like, basically, as he was asleep in this sleeping pod chamber, she's like, do you know what happened to Earth? Do you remember anything about this? You're on this new planet called Planet Mira. And so her goal right now as the AI partner is to bring you back to kind of the Earth settlement. And you're going to see in the background here where that spaceship, or where your ship crashed and has now become like this colony on this unknown planet, Mira.
Wow, okay.
So you're seeing kind of the mist kind of roll away now, and you're getting the first glimpse of just how beautiful this world is. We're going to see some of the creatures kind of come into view here in a moment as well.
I mean, it really is gorgeous. Let's talk a little bit about the world, actually. So I remember in the previous Xenoblade, it was a large, expansive world, but it was like segmented. Is it a similar structure this time around?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar in the way that you're going to have, if you're going to see an area, you're going to be able to pretty much go there.
Wow.
Like, when you're playing the game, when I was playing, the original Xenoblade, I would just go, I might get lost. There's objectives, there's a story objective driving this awesome story forward, but I would get lost for hours and hours on end just exploring. Part of the fun of this game is just to go find new places. You're going to have these quests to take on that can take you just way off the beaten path. Of course, I should mention as well that you do have giant mech robots in this game as well. We're not going to see them in this demo today because we're just starting out the game.
We did see some great flying creatures there, so scale has always been, based on your previous game, that's something you guys are a fan of, big monsters, really big monsters. Are we going to see lots of big monsters in this game as well?
We are going to see some giant beasts. In fact, even here in this intro, you got to see some of these almost like dinosaur-esque looking
Looks
size.
like an Ankylosaurus tail thing going on there. Yeah.
And you're able to basically go up and challenge them right now if you want to. Like, they are here in the world, and if you want to take on that guy, you can. Granted,
So does that mean enemies don't scale then?
So right now, the enemies are not scaling. You're going to have level 1 enemies, level 5, level 70s, all existing in the same game world.
Okay, great.
Now that level 70 giant beast right here we can see, I don't know if he's level 70, he's really high. If we walked up to him right now, fortunately he's not aggro, so he's not going to really mess with us if we leave him alone. But as we continue along in the demo, you'll see that there are some enemies that are going to attack us on sight.
A definitely heavily dinosaur influence there. Is that something that the art team have done through the whole game, or is there just loads of different influences all the way through?
It's really, I mean, the theme is just it's this alien world, so you don't know what to expect.
Okay.
As you can see on the ship here, these are humans from the United States that kind of crashed here, so this is all new to them. Of course, Irma, your AI partner here, they've been here for a little bit. She's kind of almost a scout. She was actually just out and about doing her scouting duty when she found you at the very beginning in a sleeping pod chamber. And so she's kind of just introducing you. It's kind of a big change. It's like if you just woke up all of a sudden on another planet and you're like, hey, here's a rifle, a knife. We gotta like.
Yeah, I'd have a lot of questions for you, I must say. Okay.
So he's kind of getting reintroduced into society, this new world here.
Excellent.
And Irma right now is actually just kind of explaining to us that our objective is to make it to the ship, where she's going to kind of reintroduce us to the base camp.
Brilliant. So this will be like your initial base, your initial kind of home city town, where you can learn the bartering system, you can start trading, do little missions for people. Very much like that. I mean, I forget the name of the first town in Xenoblade Chronicles. Is this kind of having a similar purpose, really?
You know, this is not a game necessarily that you're going to start, neither was the Xenoblade Chronicles, that you just start and understand everything automatically.
Yeah.
It's not going to throw you in a mech
straight
at
away.
the very beginning of the game. So as you're playing the game, you're going to be able to learn more about it. What we're seeing here, too, is this kind of a time station where you can manipulate time. We actually just changed it from nighttime to daytime. You can change it down to the minute. The reason you might want to do that is maybe certain enemies only come out at night. Maybe certain NPC characters are only hanging around for certain quests.
But if you leave it, is it just like a persistent day-night cycle if you don't
There
do
is,
it?
yeah. And you can actually see that in the upper right-hand corner there. It is about almost 2 o'clock. And again, on that map in the upper right-hand corner, that yellow marker is kind of guiding us to the mission objective. All of those red dots just really represent other enemy characters. They may or may not be aggro. This guy was just sleeping. He was just minding his own business.
Why did you attack him? Surely, as a character, you should know. I just woke up, right? I appreciate good sleep.
We want to level up our character a little bit, so we're kind of being a little bit of a jerk here. But again,
whoa! Did you just sneeze at me? I think you might have sneezed at me. I don't like that.
You're seeing us actually kind of take different angles at him as well here. We're actually targeting him from the front and middle. But if we go around from the side, we're able to target different parts of his body.
I noticed the terrain as well can block attacks because his sneeze hit that tree. So you can cover behind obstacles, right?
Yeah, to some degree, you can definitely use that environment. But really more of it's going to be choosing whether or not you want to be going ranged or melee. Melee attacks, of course, might do more damage up close. You might get some bonuses, but it does put you more in danger a lot of the time.
And you can do more damage from the back, say, and side attacks, and do they have effects on your enemies as well?
Absolutely, and it's going to depend on the creature that you're fighting. In a moment, we're actually going to get to some creatures that have armor kind of plating on their front and middle.
Yeah.
So it's not really going to be in the best of our interest to take him from the front on. Now you can target the individual body parts as well. So if there's a creature with a tail, you can actually like break off that tail. He can no longer like use it to whip you or something like that.
Cool, that's excellent. So let's a little bit about the size of the world. How big is, because Xenoblade Chronicles is a good long game. I mean, is this a similar length and everything, or is it a real JRPG you can really get your hands
This
into?
game is going to kind of have that same giant sense of exploration. Again, you know, you may not be able to get everywhere in the beginning. There may be some parts that maybe you can only get to like in your mech or something by flying. But in terms of scale, it's absolutely going to be massive. So what we see here is you saw that like little circles try to align, and we were prompted to push the B button. Throughout gameplay, the battles, if you push B at just the right time, you'll be able to get like a health bonus for your character. There's also moments where your character will actually be talking to you during the battle. She might issue you a command. In those instances, if you actually do the command she's asking, you can earn additional bonuses, whether that be health or some kind of other bonus.
Okay. So right now, the kind of terrain we're in is very kind of lush and green. And are there varied like biomes, different terrains? Is there desert areas, icy areas? Is that kind of a part of this game? Will it take you all over the planet?
You know, you're going to be traveling around a lot of the planet. I haven't actually seen all of the planet yet. We're just kind of focusing on the beginning. But one thing that we could do right here, if we did not want to go to the base right now, we could just take a detour and we could just go wherever we could. Wherever the terrain is going to allow us to go. Now, we might get ourselves in trouble and come up against these like aggro enemies that are level 80 or, you know, level 60 or something. But the game is not like putting up walls telling you, nope, you're not at the level yet. You can explore there if you want to go there.
Right, now if you're watching at home and you have any questions, maybe you're a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, chuck them in the comments. I've got the comments section open right here, so throw them in now and we'll take one in just a second.
Okay.
I have another question I was going to ask you. I want to talk about weapons, right?
Okay.
So am I thinking guns weren't really a big feature in the original Xenoblade, is that correct? So, I mean, how does the weapon system work? Is there weapon customization? Do you just find weapons around? Like, how does it work in this?
So right now, when you start the game, you're just going to have, of course, the rifle and the knife. And, of course, one of the new features there is that you're able to switch them on the fly, even in battle, like just knife to guns. In terms of the additional weapons you'll be able to find, there will be a lot more to that. We just really haven't been able to go in detail. One thing I did want to mention a little bit about the battle system is that you're familiar with Xenoblade, so whenever you use an art, you have to wait for a cooldown period in order to use it again. So that system is still in place, but what they've added is almost like this second cooldown period. So you're going to have the cooldown period, and if you actually let it cool down a second time, so you're able to use it, but if you wait all the way until you get it a second time, it's almost like you're going to be able to use it, maybe have this like bonus attack power, or you can use it twice in a row. So there's going to be some sort of risk-reward scenario in those battles while you're waiting for your system to recharge. We're almost at our base, but we're greeted with these giant, this is kind of almost like our first boss encounter in the game, if you will. And just to give you a heads up, we're maybe underpowered, severely underpowered, because we've been
so we might die.
Yeah,
well, there are 3 of them and 2 of us as well.
And they are bigger. We kind of zoomed the camera out manually a little bit ourselves just to give us a little bit more of the scope here,
cool.
But we could zoom in if we wanted to.
This looks like a pretty epic battle, but I'm afraid this is where we're going to have to leave it. But thank you so much for coming on, Corey.
Yeah,
Can you give us just an idea when could we expect to get our hands on Xenoblade?
So Xenoblade Chronicles X will be releasing in 2015.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming on stage.